Okay, so this video is regarding investor mistakes and how to prevent it. My name is Joel Aponte and I know moveonhousebuyers.com. And in this video, we're gonna be discussing how I lost $60,000 on a flip that flopped. So the first thing is that whenever you get a house under contract, you wanna make sure not only to have a due diligence period unless you get a stellar deal, but also we want to make sure that we understand what multiple exit strategies would be and if it fits your forte, if it fits your best criteria and your best judgment. With that said, the first rule whenever getting a property under contract has to be if the flip flops, what happens next. So whenever we get a property under contract, we want to understand, first of all, if it will cash flow, meaning if we add the purchase price of the property plus the repairs and then put it on the market and it then doesn't sell, how much can we cash flow after getting permanent or long-term financing? Okay, so in order for us to do that, we need to really understand all of the costs involved with the purchase, which is obviously the purchase price. Then you have double the closing costs, because typically we pay for the seller's closing costs and our closing costs. So it's 2 times the closing costs, and any due diligence fees, meaning survey, meaning an inspector as well. And then obviously you have to add into that the repairs plus the updates. And so with that said, after you do that, you need to determine, well, if I'm going to do an update for a flip, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive than a rental. But at the same time, you don't want to under rehab for a rental, because then your long-term financing appraisal may come low. So with that said, make sure you understand your repairs and your updates, which are 2 very different things. And then if you put it on the market, what is that market exposure? Are we thinking we're gonna be on the market 6 months after listed, 3 months, 7 days? What is that? So the market exposure. And that goes hand in hand with how long you think you're gonna hold the property. So essentially all of your holding costs have to be accounted for. So that includes your principal or your interest, depending on your financing, your taxes, your insurance, any HOA fees, any alarm fees, which are often overlooked, and any utility fees, meaning water, power, gas, to keep the home running. And so with that said, after you calculate all of those, you want to make sure that if you buy something and flip it, and in case it flops, in case the market changes, that you're prepared to refinance it and keep it in your portfolio as a rental. Now, with that said, obviously, I think the most risky strategy is flipping by far. You're at the mercy of a lot of things. You are at the mercy of contractors. You're at the mercy of things that come up, change orders. You're at the mercy of the market shifting on you. And in one of our deals that we did in the last year, the market shifted where we ended up losing about $60,000 on the property, which is a big loss and a big lesson learned. So we're never gonna, or I don't want to say never, but we'd rather not contract properties that we're not sure they're gonna cash flow, and that the only avenue is to actually sell it. So how do you determine if something that you're flipping is not, rentable? So typically, if it's on the, at least here in Houston, if it's above the $160,000 range, $160,000 value range, it's gonna be an issue for it to cash flow. And so with that said, we try to stay off of that. But in your market, it might vary depending on what the rents go for. So typically, the median price here in Houston is about $230. So with that said, if we're in that range, we know that we're probably not gonna get 2,300 bucks per square foot. We might get 1,800, 1,900, maybe $2,000 per square foot. So we wanna make sure that we are closing on properties and wholesaling the rest. I mean, we wanna close on properties that if we flip them, great, we make money. If we plan to rent them out because the flip flops, we can refinance and rent it out, no problem. Or even owner financing. It goes hand in hand with what the rental rates are. So with that said, avoid our mistake of losing $60,000 worth of loss, transactional loss, and make sure that if you close on a property in your market, that if the flip flops, you can actually rent it out, cash flow, and get equity. If you found this useful, check out our house buying website, moveonhousebuyers.com. Check us out, take a look at it. If you're interested in more educational tips for real estate investors, you can check out realestatewealthempire.com. Thanks.